double-sided, you can have a little bounce. It's going to stay exactly where you think it should stay. It grips nicely. The taper right from the bottom of the block. If your block and this, let's suppose this is just a little smaller, you only need a couple of touches with a file, just a top of the taper, and it's going to fit. With the parallel, you've got a lot more stock to it. So they both have their pros and cons.
So you still have the taper down in the fire?
Sorry?
The taper is down in the fire?
The taper's up at the moment. I've got the
Okay.
block heater. I'm going to come here. Whenever I put the shape in, I do put the shape over my hardy hole because there's some nuances with this hardy hole compared to that, and I want to absorb the nuance. Go to caseolite with you or anything like that?
Quench that or let it sit?
I would case harden it if I had some case hardening compound. These days, I think the case hardening is cherry red, cherry heat, or something like that. One's a flux, one's a case hardening compound. I think. So, and it's basically ground up dead things. I don't have any, otherwise I'd do it. But you're going to heat this up so it becomes austenitic. So for this, let's call it 1600, 1700 degrees, it's mild steel. And you're going to sprinkle on your dead things. Probably got a little fluxing agent in with it, something to do some nitrogen as well. It's kind of important. And you allow those to burn, so off gas. That off gas is going into the metal. It's not a liquid, it's going into the metal. It's gas. And you can do that once, you can do it twice, you can do it as many times you like. Each time you do it, you've got to increase the depth. It's not very good. And then reheat to austenitic. Remember, martensite. Martensite is what gives you the performance edge. What gives you the hardness. Martensite is a product of austenite. not something, it's a product of austenite. So you need to start with austenite before you can make marble salt. Let me quench this and we'll talk about that a little bit.
So the process of making the case hardening material, they get things, bones and whatever.
Yeah, leather, whatever you've got. Try and avoid the bones, not the bones, the teeth. So my understanding is that when you burn teeth, the off gas is cyanide. Clarifying though it may be, not a good thing to be using. So let's not do that. And then, so you, let's see if I can find this. I'm looking for a, oh here it is. So you can find this online, or you can go to either Fred or Card. They've got this as a PDF they can drop to you or something in email or airdrop. So if you look at this, you're going to see a lower transformational temperature. That's where your perlite is changing to austenite in here. You'll see an upper transformational temperature, which is where the ferrite is changing, the free ferrite is changing to austenite. And somewhere between the two, you'll see the magnetic point. Okay, so you can see that the magnet is somewhat below your ferrite turning to austenite. And so if martensite is a derivative of, or a product of austenite, you can see if you're just using the magnet. There are points when the magnet makes sense, and there's points where it doesn't make sense. But if you're just using the magnet, I would say that you're robbing yourself of some of your potential. You want to go just a little higher than that to get austenite, and then you want to let it stay there for a little period of time. Remember how we don't put the canadenting or stew on top for high for 30 seconds. We want it to stay at that temperature, and we want to get a nice homogeneous solution. Get everything moving around in that bar. Okay, I'll pass that around, you can have a look. So if you actually get the full sheet, there's a description down the side of the various things. So yeah, we come to these sort of things, we sit down, we've got me or somebody like me, and I prattle on about heat treatment. And I'm just giving you my interpretation of the book that I may or may not have understood. So I would say, sure, listen, you know, have fun, go home and read it. Yeah, and get the real text. Don't take my opinion.
You did put it in one of your books.
Yeah, that's another thing. You know, people think because you write a book, you know what you're talking about. Not necessarily so. I can speak from first hand.
So do you have any of your books available?
Not a one. Not a one. But I'm happy to ship them. Again, I think that the North Texas are perhaps they're talking about taking some of the books and using them to support the curriculum, so they will be available through the store for North Texas. And that way you're supporting your club. You know, the excess money that they'll make on a book or whatever it is goes into providing things like this, or the forges or the emblems that we're using. It's your way of making sure that this carries on. So I would encourage you to do that.